Death, destruction, and spiritual failure rarely arrive at your doorstep wearing an ugly mask. Most of the time, the greatest traps of the enemy are wrapped in the colors of your national jersey. They smell like popcorn, they sound like a stadium singing in perfect unison, and they are broadcasted directly into your living room under the name of entertainment. Not every major celebration on this earth is just a game. Some arenas are carrying a heavy, ancient spiritual atmosphere that has absolutely nothing to do with sports. Yet, millions of believers sit on their couches, close their spiritual eyes, open their hearts, and receive the collective energy of the crowd without once questioning what is actually being poured into their spirits. Today, I want to open your eyes to a modern blind spot that the church rarely addresses. We are going to expose the dangerous World Cup trap that most Christians are falling into right now, and why what you allow to capture your attention during this global tournament matters just as much as what you pray for at the altar on Sunday morning. 1 Corinthians 10:23 gives the body of Christ one of the most sobering boundaries for our daily freedom. The Apostle Paul writes, "I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive." Most modern Christians read this verse and immediately apply it to the obvious heavy sins. We apply it to theft, to immorality, to addictions, or to outright rebellion against God. But very few believers have the spiritual discernment to apply this principle to their entertainment, especially when the entire world, including their friends, their family, and their co-workers, is swept up in a wave of global euphoria. Entertainment is never a spiritually neutral zone. It is a massive, wide-open door for your focus, your emotions, your finances, and ultimately, your devotion. When billions of human beings across the planet simultaneously focus their minds, their passions, and their shouts on a single event, the spiritual realm reacts. The enemy knows that if he cannot make you deny Jesus with your mouth, he can simply distract you so deeply that your fire for God quietly burns out while you watch the scoreboard. Let us uncover the 4 hidden dimensions of this global trap so you can guard your heart before the next match begins. Point 1. Never let an earthly jersey rewrite your true identity. Let us be very clear before we proceed. There is nothing inherently sinful about appreciating human talent. God created the human body with a capacity for incredible athletic ability, speed, and strategy. Enjoying a well-played match with your family is not a sin, but there is a massive, dangerous line between appreciation and adoration, and that is exactly where the trap is sprung. I remember attending a gathering during a previous tournament cycle. I stood in a room filled with passionate people, including several leaders and faithful members of a local church. As the final seconds of the match ticked away and their team lost, I watched a man collapse to the floor. He began to cry uncontrollably. His face was filled with a deep, bottomless despair. Anger consumed his speech, and for the next 3 days, his family had to walk on eggshells because his entire mood, his peace, and his joy had been completely shattered by a ball hitting a net thousands of miles away. As I watched that display, something deep inside my spirit felt profoundly unsettled. It wasn't judgment, it was heavy discernment, because I knew this man personally. I knew his private life. And I realized that I had never, not even once, seen that same man shed a single tear at the altar for the salvation of his children. I had never seen him fall to his knees in desperation for the spiritual condition of his home or his neighborhood. Yet an earthly loss had the power to break his spirit. Exodus 23 contains a command that has never been repealed. You shall have no other gods before me. Idolatry in the 21st century rarely looks like a stone statue carved in a dark temple. Modern idolatry is beautifully packaged. It looks like a stadium. It looks like a superstar player whose name is shouted by 80,000 people in a crowded arena. Idolatry occurs the exact moment an earthly event, a team, or a sports icon gains the sovereign power to dictate your internal peace, your joy, your temper, and your treatment of others. If a simple game has the keys to your emotional stability, then that game is no longer just entertainment. It has become your functional altar, and the players have become your high priests. Point 2. Discern the spiritual dedications happening behind the curtain. The second dimension of this trap is something that mainstream media completely ignores, but the Bible warns us about repeatedly. Throughout history, global games were explicitly dedicated to pagan deities. The ancient arenas were built to honor false gods, and the athletes performed rituals to secure the favor of spirits. While modern society claims that we have outgrown those superstitious days, the spiritual world does not change its laws just because we changed the century. When you watch the elaborate ceremonies of these tournaments, you are often witnessing highly calculated representations of ancient spiritual concepts, humanistic worship, and symbols that directly mock biblical truth. Furthermore, many elite players openly admit to practicing witchcraft, consulting spirit mediums, or performing specific rituals on the field to gain supernatural advantages over their opponents. Leviticus 19:31 gives a firm warning. Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. When you sit in front of your television screen, consuming hours of content that is spiritually charged, celebrating anthems and symbols without testing the spirit behind them, you are inviting that atmosphere directly into your home. You are allowing an ungodly frequency to fill the space where your children sleep, where your marriage resides, and where your family prays. Before you lose your voice shouting for a victory, you must ask yourself a difficult question. What kind of spirit am I validating, hosting, and celebrating in my living room? The spring cannot produce both fresh water and poison at the exact same time. If this message is causing you to open your spiritual eyes and look at your entertainment choices through the lens of biblical discernment, brother, sister, please subscribe to this channel right now. Join this community of believers who refuse to keep their eyes closed. Write directly in the comments, Lord, protect my eyes, guard my home, and keep my heart completely focused on your eternal kingdom. Your interaction helps this urgent message bypass the algorithms and reach another believer who is currently asleep in this trap. Now, let us continue, because the final 2 points reveal exactly how the enemy uses this tournament to dismantle your spiritual authority. Point 3. Never let a global distraction lower your spiritual guard. In military strategy, a general will rarely launch a direct frontal assault if he can create a massive, chaotic distraction elsewhere first. While the enemy forces are looking to the left, the real attack comes from the right. The spiritual realm operates using the exact same playbook. The enemy absolutely loves global events like the World Cup, not because football is inherently evil, but because it provides the ultimate, perfect screen of mass distraction. For an entire month, the attention, conversation, mental energy, and focus of billions of people are locked onto a single screen. During these weeks of intense public obsession, look at what happens quietly in the background of many Christian homes. Daily prayer times are shortened or completely abandoned to fit the match schedules. Bible study groups are cancelled because everyone wants to watch the game. Conversations between husbands and wives stop revolving around spiritual growth and begin revolving around statistics, arguments over referee decisions, and sports rivalries. 1 Peter 5:8 gives us a command that requires total consistency. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Notice that the Bible does not say the devil takes a vacation during the World Cup. He does not pause his attacks on your marriage, his temptations against your purity, or his assignments against your children, just because your favorite team is playing in the quarterfinals. In fact, he intensifies his work when he knows your spiritual walls are unguarded because your eyes are locked onto a screen. While the world is looking at the ball, the enemy is looking at your inheritance. Point 4. Guard what enters your spirit through collective atmospheres. Prayer is a spiritual transfer. Worship is a spiritual transfer. And yes, standing in a crowd or aligning your spirit with a global atmosphere is also a spiritual transfer. When 80,000 people inside a stadium and hundreds of millions outside of it release intense emotions of anger, aggression, obsession, and near worship toward 11 men on a field, a powerful collective atmosphere is generated. If you consume this atmosphere without absolute discernment, you will find yourself absorbing its fruit. Have you ever noticed how easily believers become argumentative, bitter, or filled with genuine malice toward people of other nations or opposing teams during these tournaments? That is not just sports passion. That is a spiritual transfer of division and carnal pride. Proverbs 4:23 instructs us with absolute urgency. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. You have a biblical responsibility to guard what enters your ears, your eyes, and your mind. You can appreciate the beauty of a sport. You can celebrate a goal with a clean heart, but you must refuse to sell your attention, your peace, and your family's spiritual climate to an atmosphere of carnal obsession. Do not leave this video today and simply return to normal. Let the weight of eternity change the way you select your entertainment. Share this message immediately with a brother, a sister, or a friend who needs this urgent wake-up call before the next major whistle blows. Subscribe to Bible with Jordan so we can continue to stand firm, test the spirits, and grow together in biblical wisdom every single week. God bless you deeply, my brother, my sister. Until next time.